Another big thing that I had going on was also on all my cruise ships. I had wanted PlayStations and the latest computer systems to be available to my passengers, basically on the cruise ships. So while mommy and daddy are drinking and gambling or whatever on the cruise ship or seeing the show, the kids could be playing games like Grand Theft Auto or whatever. We did a test or pilot thing, I think, basically, where basically, people could, while they're on these great big huge cruise liners, cruising across the ocean, the kids could be inside their cabins basically playing computer games. Um, at first in the old days, I guess it was just Nintendo or whatever, but basically having a computer that would basically run pretty much the console games and stuff like that, so the kids could play games and stuff like that on the cruise ships as they sailed across the oceans while mommy and daddy drank and danced and basically had a good time. The kids could have a good time as well, experiencing computer games or board games or whatever else could be available provided to them. Games like Monopoly or whatever else like that. Like in the old days, we just had Monopoly and like Candyland and a couple other things basically for the people on the cruise liners. But the updated version of that basically was, of course, computer games and other games like that. I'm not exactly sure if they could actually if that actually ever happened or was put on the ships like it was supposed to be. Um, but also for air travel or any long trips, the kid would keep the kids quiet, playing the latest and greatest and new game, available basically. And that's another reason why another reason why Lucifer Star, why I was involved in computer games more than just basically quantities and basically warehouse amounts, which is what I was mostly using the computers for, was basically just keeping track of stock and I mean what's available inside the warehouse as well as payroll and all that other stuff. Because, like I said, something that was very clear and obvious to the Germans a long time ago was the paperwork was enormous. The paperwork for an entire country stacked up to almost a truckload, basically. And we were drowning in it, basically. So, pretty much there had to be a better way, and there had to be another way, and digital solutions was it, basically. Computers, basically. Spreadsheets pretty much removed the nightmare that was basically my overload of paperwork and paper that was being generated every day from Germany and all the different warehouses. Monitoring stock amounts. Like so many cans of tuna versus how many e-cigarettes you have in stock, or even how many are made. But basically, also for cruise ships as well. Game consoles, and there might have even been a hacking endeavor on somebody's part to hack the computer systems of one of the cruise ships or whatever at some point in time through the game consoles. I don't really know. But anyway, though, they were supposed to be provided and put on the ships. Basically, the ships in the old days were pretty much living cities where you could have a straw eyeglasses done, as well as teeth fillings, and just like my trains. On my trains, you could have your teeth filled somewhat. We had roving caravans of workers and people that would stop off at towns and fix and maintain the town, as well as do other services, that were being provided for by me, Lucifer Star, because I own the towns. So upkeep of those towns would fall on my mobile train crews, basically that would go from town to town and stuff like that, bringing in supplies and also fixing up towns and also taking a look at the water systems to make sure that they were not in need of repair. I used to do a much more of a nomad existence as far as repair work on my cities, because cities, if you build them right, they don't really need everyday maintenance so much. In big cities, yes, but in the old cities, no, they didn't need so much. So, like I said, a lot of the things that you would consider the communist regime and this and that, it was just basically one very, 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 very wealthy and influential person. Me, Lucifer Star. And like I say, not that anybody would believe it, but most Germans would have probably told the people that were torturing them basically that they worked for Lucifer Star. At least I think they should. I told them to be honest. Just tell them the truth. They worked for me. Lucifer Star, epic inventor, epic creator, epic everything. The creator of humanity, 1.5 life forms, and exoskeletons. I'm not sure how much they were actually being told or how much they actually knew of my existence, but when they were going to be tortured, it's like, just tell them the truth. No need to hide. I'm the superstar. So, yeah, whatever it amounts to or whatever it matters, that's who I was and that's what I did. I had roving caravans of repair people. I had, things like the PlayStations on cruise ships or the, that's why they also probably call it PlayStation, because they were PlayStations. In the old days, the PlayStations just had board games and other things, but I wanted an update to be done to my cruise ships, and when you have like 14,000 people on a cruise ship, or these larger ships which carry sometimes upwards of like almost 30,000 people pretty much on a ship, although I don't know, but they're very big. They're basically floating cities, pretty much 900 feet long by 120 feet wide. It makes sense to provide computer games and other things, services like my playing cards, best of their kind, plastic coated playing cards, about a $12 value or $5 value back in 1800 basically, but basically equivalent of $100 today. But they would last a long time, and they were made very well. But they did fall apart, and as mass production became more and more readily available, we could provide more and more at cheaper and cheaper prices. So you have like basically, see, I have one around here somewhere. Anyway, but back in the 1800s, there was something similar to this. Not quite so nice, a little thicker. I think mines were more like actual cards. They were thick and plastic coated or treated, and they weren't that great, really. Like I said, go down the Titanic, you might find a deck, basically. The 1800 or 1700 playing cards, which were like this, only thicker. And plastic coated, plastic treated, or whatever, hot plastic or something. I don't know exactly how we did it, but originally they were coated in just wax coated cards, basically thick paper. And then later on they made them more what's it called? They started using the plastic embedded cards, and then later on they made them thinner as technology improved. But I own playing card companies. That's why there's American playing cards or whatever. There's American playing cards and stuff like that. And I named America, so yeah. Like I said, I had people in all over the world, in China, in Germany, producing my goods and selling them. Anyway, furthering civilization, basically. Anyway, it gets all complicated and whatever. I don't really care, but anyway, that's how Lucifer Star and American playing cards, and American this, American that. Basically just my companies. But also, like I said, basically Lucifer Star, though. Me. So anyway. Yeah. So it turned out I was very, 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 very successful. And everyone loved everything that I was having done. It was very expensive and took a long time and took a lot of research, and there's wars and stuff like that involved, and all kinds of other stuff. A whole bunch of tomfoolery or stupidity, basically. Epic stupidity, but eventually things got straightened out, I guess. Or something. So, anyway, I don't know. I don't really care anymore. I'm 100 trillion years old, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah. And you'll just have to understand your own existence and how exactly it is that I named America. From the time point of 1970 or something like that. Actually, technically, I named America when I left with the LSF-A. That's when I actually named America.